A lot of people think the hardest part of a toxic relationship is when you're actually in it. But here's what most people don't realize: the hardest part doesn't happen during the relationship. It starts after the toxic person is gone. The hardest part starts after that toxic person is long gone. Why is it that after they leave, we don't feel relieved? Why are we still completely drained even though the drama is over? Why do we wake up exhausted, with zero energy to work, go out, or even think about loving someone else? And if a genuinely good person tries to get close, we just freeze up and get scared. Why? If you're going through this, you're not weak. You're literally fresh out of a war. Your nervous system is still responding as if the danger never left. Nobody is yelling at you right now, but the second your phone rings, your heart drops. The moment someone takes a bit longer to text back, you spiral, thinking you messed up. When someone raises their voice, you instantly feel like everything is about to crash down. That's not you being too sensitive or weak. That's your body still acting like you're in danger. In psychology, constant stress keeps your nervous system in survival mode, even after the threat is gone. You left the relationship, but your body is still stuck there. Let me ask you something. If your phone battery is connected all day to apps running in the background, it drains fast, right? Obviously. Even if you barely picked up the phone. That is exactly what happened to your brain. That toxic person wasn't just draining you during fights. They were draining you every single minute. Every text you waited for. Every word you overanalyzed. Every look you tried to decode. Every second spent guessing. Are they mad? Are they chill? All of that was draining your battery in the background, and you didn't even notice. You spent every day asking yourself, are they upset? Did I do something wrong? Why the late reply? What did they mean by that? Are they gonna ghost me? Are they gonna snap? Are they playing me, or do they actually care? Every single question was eating away at your energy. And the worst part? You thought this overthinking was normal. But normal is feeling safe, not living 24/7 trying to predict the next explosion. The real tragedy is that over time, your brain switched to survival mode. Not living, just surviving. Your only goal became getting through the day without drama. Avoiding their anger. Trying not to lose them. Chasing that sweet version of them to come back. Imagine someone running a marathon every single day for years, and suddenly someone says, "Okay, stop and relax." Do you think their body can just instantly chill? Of course not. Their heart will keep racing, their breath will be short, and their muscles will stay tense. Because they're wired to expect danger at any second. That's exactly what happens after a toxic breakup. And after all that, you expect to just bounce back to normal? How? Your body doesn't even remember what normal feels like. That's why a lot of people don't just cry after a breakup, they feel completely empty. Like someone hollowed them out. If you ask them, "What do you want to do?" they have no answer. Because that relationship didn't just take their time, it stole their focus, their energy, their dreams, and pieces of their identity, bit by bit. Maybe you started asking for permission for basic things that are literally your right. Maybe you constantly apologize when you didn't even do anything. Maybe you're scared to speak your mind, or you feel like a total burden. That's the most dangerous thing a toxic person does. They don't just break your heart, they completely warp the way you see yourself. Eventually, you stop asking, "What's wrong with them?" and start asking, "Maybe I'm the problem." That's why even after they're gone, their voice keeps playing rent-free in your head. The toxic person left, but the broken version of yourself they made you believe in stayed behind. Every time you pick an outfit, you hear their critique. Every time you make a mistake, you hear their voice. When someone compliments you, you feel like a fraud who's just hiding their flaws. When someone loves you, you wait for the drop, thinking they'll realize you're not enough. That's why you can't jump into a new relationship. It's not because you still love them. No. It's because you're terrified of loving the same way again. Scared to start over. Scared to catch feelings. Scared to trust, only to end up back at square one. But listen to me closely. You don't need a new relationship right now. You don't even have to move on instantly, and you don't have to act tough. You just need to find you again. The person who got lost while trying to please someone who was never going to be satisfied anyway. If any of this hits home, let me tell you something important. You're not broken. You're just exhausted. There's a massive difference. And once you understand that difference, healing finally starts to make sense. So, how do we recharge the battery after all this drain? It's not happening in a day, a week, or a month. Because what drained you wasn't a one-time thing, it was a whole lifestyle. Healing is gonna be a step-by-step process. First off, stop judging yourself for how slow you're healing. Every time you say, "Why am I still sad? Why am I still thinking about them? Why can't I just get over it?" You are just putting more pressure on yourself. Instead of asking, "Why am I still hurting?" ask, "Am I doing a little better than last week?" Even if it's just 1%. Healing isn't about speed, it's about direction. As long as you're moving forward, you are healing, even if it's baby steps. Second, do one small thing for yourself every day. Not to be productive, or to prove you're strong, but just to remind your brain that life has things to offer other than fear. Go for a 10-minute walk. Drink your coffee in total peace. Read a few pages of a book you actually like. Blast a song that makes you happy. Watch a comedy. Anything simple that signals to your brain, "Hey, we're safe now." Third, when that voice in your head starts whispering, "It's your fault, you weren't enough," don't just buy into it. Ask it one thing. Who said this to me first? You'll be shocked to realize it's usually not your voice. It's the voice of the person who put you down, blamed you for everything, and made you see yourself through their distorted lens. The first step to taking your power back is realizing that not every thought in your head is the truth. Fourth, don't rush into love. Rush into knowing yourself. The biggest risk isn't getting into a new relationship, it's getting into one while you're still looking for your worth in someone else's eyes. Once you realize your worth doesn't depend on anyone's approval, that's when you can love without fear. And finally, remember this. A battery doesn't charge while it's still running a million apps. You gotta plug it in and let it sit. You don't need to force yourself to be the old you. Maybe you're not meant to go back to who you were. Maybe you're meant to come out of this wiser, calmer, and stronger. Don't you dare think you're weak just because you're tired. Someone leaving a toxic relationship isn't just dealing with a broken heart. They are actively trying to remember who they even were before they met that person. But hear me out, that toxic person didn't steal your worth. They just made you forget it was there. And there's a huge difference. Because what's forgotten can always be remembered. Your light didn't burn out, it was just hidden. It just needs a little time to show up again. If you made it this far, remember one thing, you can't expect to heal from years of constant drain in just a week. Give yourself time, grace, and patience because the person you've been trying so hard to save was you all along. If this speaks to you, drop a comment saying, "Starting today, I choose myself." Maybe those words will be the fresh start you, or someone reading it, needs.